Hey guys, this is Eckhart's Letter. Hello and welcome to another episode of Halo Top 5. As the name would suggest, in this series we count down the top 5 of something within the Halo universe. And today's episode I think will be a whole lot of fun because we're looking at the 5 best Spartan IIs that ever existed in Halo. And I mean, we all know how great Spartan IIs were, so these 5 warriors are among the best of the best in Halo lore. Before we get into today's content, I do just have a couple of really quick messages to get through. The first is that, as I'm sure many of you noticed, I hit 50,000 subscribers yesterday. That's a huge milestone for me, especially because I haven't actually been at this for really that long, and to be honest, I never thought I'd reach this level. But it's all thanks to you guys. Thank you to everyone who's watched, who's liked the videos, who's subscribed, and just who's been a part of the community. Also, speaking of community, I'd like to give an extra special thanks to everyone over at the Eckhart's Letter Discord, and in particular those at the Halo/gaming channel. Tonight I was doing the research for this video, I needed some help, so I went there and ran some ideas past a few people. Eric Ibu especially was very helpful, and he wrote out a bunch of text to help me make my decision, and it would have taken me a lot longer without their help, so I really appreciate it. If you guys want to join the Discord, I'll put a link down in the description and also in the pinned comment. So, as I mentioned, today we're counting down the 5 best Spartan IIs in the Halo universe, and for those who don't know what a Spartan is, they're essentially genetically augmented super soldiers encased in very powerful suits of armor. Although the suits of armor and really the technology isn't going to be the main focus of this episode, instead I'm looking at the humans within the armor themselves. So which Spartans, either through natural skill or training or some combination of the two and maybe even a little luck, could be considered the 5 best? I do just want to say that basically every Spartan which survived the augmentation process and the training was exceptional in their own way, so in selecting 5, I did have to leave out some notable Spartan IIs. Specifically, Kurt was really close to making the list, but didn't, as was Jerome, who in my opinion just spent too much time in cryosleep to really be considered amongst the other Spartans which were in action for over 20 years. We also have George, although to be honest, he wasn't really very close to making the list. And we had young Spartan Samuel, who showed a lot of potential, but was killed at the age of 14. Alright, so at number 5 I have kind of a weird one which I think may be controversial among Halo fans. In my opinion, the 5th greatest Spartan is Spartan 006, Spartan J. Not all Spartans which underwent the augmentation and the indoctrination process turned out to be mindless, order-following killing machines. Some of them retained heavily individualistic personalities. The UNSC and the Office of Naval Intelligence recognized that these qualities could carry some benefits in the battlefield, and with that, several special operations, deep undercover Spartan groups were formed. We know specifically of Black Team and Gray Team. Gray Team appears to be the more successful of the two and operated behind enemy lines for much of the Human Covenant War. This team of 3 Spartans, who was commanded by Jay, was very successful and would often go weeks, if not months to years, without running into any other UNSC forces. Gray Team was so detached for a while that in December of 2552, which was after the actual end of the war, they detonated a Nova bomb, destroying an entire Sangheli planet. Given the degree of danger to their operations and the fact that they were always pretty much operating behind enemy lines, it's really astonishing that Gray Team managed to survive the whole Human Covenant War. And I give much of this credit to Spartan J, who's able to take a team of individualistic Spartans and use them extremely effectively behind enemy lines. Also pretty cool, he fought the Arbiter, the Arbiter before he was officially the Arbiter, to a one-on-one battle, and they were actually evenly matched, so that tells you just what kind of warrior he was. To be fair, while Jay was formerly the leader, that was not always acknowledged by the other 2 Spartans in his group, Adriana and Mike, so arguably those 2 could have also been on this list. Number 4 is Spartan 087, Kelly, and I will say, could be argued that any of the Spartans basically between now and number 2 could be switched, and I think you can make a good argument to do so, but let's just talk about Kelly for now. Kelly was renowned for being the fastest ever Spartan and, by extension, also the fastest ever human in existence. In addition to this speed, she also had the fastest reflexes of any other Spartan. This made her especially dangerous in close quarter situations, and when sparring with other Spartans, she was always easily the victor. Kelly was a member of Blue Team, as were perhaps a couple other members of this list. And given that she survived all the way from the beginning of the war until the events of Halo 5, in which she is a playable character, you can say that she has remarkable longevity, especially given that she went on over 200 missions and operations. Also, as with other members of Blue Team, after the end of the Human Covenant War, she reunited with Master Chief, and they went on countless missions, fighting both Covenant remnants and Forerunner elements. Although she does at times lack composure when compared to other Spartans, Kelly's experience and just pure hours in the field are almost unbeatable, and that, combined with her speed, make her a very deadly warrior. Arguably though, Kelly's comrade Spartan 058, also known as Linda, was even more deadly. Even early on in her career, Linda kicked ass basically 24/7. She adapted extremely quickly to the Spartan augmentation program. So quickly in fact, that she was a member of the first ever Spartan II team to see action, and this was far before they were even issued their protective Mjolnir armor. There were a couple of things that made Linda such a good Spartan. First of all, she was the best marksman in the entire Spartan Corps, and thus, by extension, the best marksman that humanity had ever seen. However, not only is she an incredible and unmatched marksman, but she works under pressure like no one else. She's completely unflinching, unwavering, and she's hyper lethal to a degree that I don't think even Noble 6 would reach. Basically, you can drop Linda off within a few kilometers of some important target, say a meeting of prophets, and she will take them down, no problem whatsoever. She won't even break a sweat doing so. Linda's skill and resolve were probably shown most prominently during Operation First Strike, where Blue Team managed to destroy the unyielding Hierophant, which was a gigantic Covenant shipyard. During Operation First Strike, Linda managed to snipe 7 elites out of their Banshees, but while that is impressive, she managed to do so while hanging upside down and aiming and firing the sniper rifle with one hand. This was also an extremely high pressure situation because she was trying to protect the other members of her team. Linda's pure lethal skills put her at number 3 on this list, and I think if I needed someone assassinated in the Halo universe, she would definitely be one of, if not my, first choice. Linda, like Kelly, was also very experienced, and she went on probably over 100 missions with Blue Team during the Human Covenant War, and then didn't stop after the war when being led by Master Chief. Number 2 is, and would you ever guess it, another member of Blue Team, and not only that, he's another member of Blue Team featured in Halo 5. Spartan 104, or as you may know him, Fred, was one of the most well-rounded Spartans of all time. Unlike the previous 2 entries on this list, there wasn't really one area where you could say he excelled. Instead, he did everything very, very well. Much of what we know about Fred's excellence comes from the very good book, The Fall of Reach, which details all of the Spartan training, and it's written in John's perspective, and John says that he thinks that many times Spartan Fred actually holds back and that he could beat him in individual competitions. Instead, Fred always comes in second place, perhaps because he doesn't like the spotlight. John also supposes that much of Fred's second place finishes comes because John is just so lucky. Whether that's the case or not, the fact that Fred, at least as a child, was rivaling John for the number 1 position in most of these competitions tells you just the kind of soldier that he was. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that, without any other information, that he was guaranteed to be the second best Spartan of all time, but I think his work record also kind of reinforces the notion that he was one of the best. Fred also served with Blue Team throughout the war, and he was often their commander, although at times that role also did shift to Master Chief. Although he was very modest and would often relinquish command to other Spartans, Fred was an incredible leader, and he had a really good understanding of all aspects of being a good soldier, Spartan, and commander. Fred's natural skill and his intelligence actually led him to become the highest ranked active Spartan by the end of the war. Alright, it's time for number 1, and you guys should know who this is. Humanity's greatest warrior, Sierra 117, the Master Chief, Spartan John. Whether John is the most skilled or the best leader is up for debate. What, however, is not up for debate is the fact that John gets results. Whether he's surviving flood infestations, destroying Halo rings, or saving humanity, John gets the job done, period. Much of John's success and his skill as a Spartan has been attributed to luck, but when you have a sample size as large as John's, when you have over 200 ground battles, there is something else going on. Whether there's something inherent in his biology or just something about him as a person that makes him so successful, there really is no denying it that he is the most important human in UNSC history. During Spartan training, Halsey considered John to be the best Spartan candidate, as did Cortana, and they did so for good reason because his bravery and his effectiveness is unmatched. John is the best of the best. He's humanity's savior, he's an icon, he is the greatest Spartan of all time. At least, that's my opinion. Take a second right now to vote in the upper right hand corner. Let me know who you think out of the 5 that I just mentioned is actually the best Spartan of all time. I can't do more than 5 options, so if you think someone is better, make sure to let me know down in the comments section. Also, of course, be sure to let me know any ideas you have for future videos and what you thought of this one. Did you like it? Did you think my research was on point? Did I forget about a Spartan? Are you pissed that I didn't include Kurt? Anything like that and more down in the comments. Anyways, thank you for watching, guys, and of course, thank you also for helping me reach 50,000 subscribers. I recently, I guess yesterday, launched my Patreon page if you guys want to donate there. I'll put a link down in the description and also in the upper right hand corner, but that is never necessary. Anyways, thank you one more time, guys. As always, may the force be with you.